Hello, my name is Sharon, and I'm the current team coordinator at Lake Family Resource Center. And so today I'm going to do a presentation focusing on cyberspace, internet, cyberbullying, those sorts of things. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and the color is orange. So we are spending the month bringing some awareness to healthy relationships and teen dating violence. But I wanted to take this presentation and focus on boundaries around the internet and social media and things like that, since everything's so virtual now. And we know that there are concerns around being safe online and how to participate online in a safe way for teens. So that is what we were going to do today. Cyberspace. Again, I'm from Lake Family Resource Center. If you don't know, we do have a 24/7 crisis line at 888-485-7733. You can call or text that line if you are in need of services. So why does this matter? Why do I want to talk about this today? Well, the stats on this are a concern, correct? Hold on, let me get this back up. These are from 2010, so we're thinking of stats about 10 years ago. So these are concerning numbers of 10 years ago, but now we have to think about, what do those look like now? 40% of all teenagers with internet access have reported being bullied online. 58% of 4th to 8th graders report having mean or cruel things said to them online. 53% report having said mean or cruel things to others online. 42% identify themselves as someone who is bullied online. And about 60% of those studied never told an adult. So the concern here is that we're looking at about half of teens that are being bullied online or having mean things said about them. And close to half having also admitted to saying things to other people that online or in text that would be considered mean or cruel. And nobody's talking to adults about it. So it's a pretty significant issue. And this, again, our stats from 10 years ago. So when we think about the world today, it's probably even higher than this. One of the points that we need to make, I believe, and this comes from the Yourself series, and I really like how they worded it as something for us to think about when we're talking about cyberspace and teens. Your generation, so our current generation of teens right now, are exposed to more technology than any other generation, including mine. I didn't grow up, technology was being developed. I didn't even have a computer until high school, I think. And that's when the internet kind of got big. So even mine, we didn't grow up with access 24/7 to instant information or contact with others the way that generations now are growing up. They also aren't growing up with the transition to that 24/7 access. Your generation doesn't know a world without this sort of 24 access. And that's really new. We didn't, it was a totally different place as far as technology goes and the transition into it. So there's parents, adults, teachers, caregivers, authorities who didn't have role models for this type of socialization. And so was new to all of us. And so that's important to remember. Your generation is really the head of the line as far as learning appropriate behaviors and safeties and how to interact online and be the role model for the next generation that's going to need it. Since our role models don't come from a place where technology was available the way it is now. I also I'm going to add a worksheet to this post on Facebook for Lake FRC that I put together. We talked about in the last presentation boundaries and the importance of boundaries. And so this is a worksheet to sort of help identify what those boundaries might be and ask some reflective questions about it. Anything access, so meaning that you can access anything, any information 24/7, online or text with others anytime you want, means that you are going to end up being responsible for your exposure. What are the ramifications for you? What are you watching or partaking it in online, and how does it affect your psyche? You really become the one responsible. So this worksheet that I will add to the post, if you are interested in doing it, will ask you questions like, if you had a younger sibling, how would you feel if they saw the same websites that you did? Have you encountered visuals or information that you wish you hadn't? And how can you set a guideline for yourself to avoid those kinds of things? The internet is sort of open game. And so it's going to be your responsibility to navigate and manage the content that you're absorbing or reading or seeing. So social media and networking is a huge part of today's world. But it does come with risks that are more talked about now than they were when I was transitioning to technology the way it is now, but still something worth talking about for as you begin getting, as you're using technology. You don't know if the people that you're contacting are toxic. You don't know if you're messaging say in a game or something with others, you don't know that person's situation. They could be a disturbed person, they could be a toxic person. It's likely they're not the person that they're telling you they are, but even if they are, you don't really know this much about them. So it's important to know that when you're interacting with others online, that to have that safety thought to remind you that you don't know if this person's toxic, and that you're going to need to protect yourself and your information. Somebody behind a screen, it gives them secrecy. We don't know, like I said, you don't really know if it's who they say they are. And we have a lot of examples, as I'm sure that the teens are familiar with as well, that's how perpetrators can seek their victims. Or if it's a bully at school, they can extend their reach to you. People feel a sort of, I like to call it false courage online, because there's an anonymous element to it. They can put up fake profiles, use fake pictures, use fake information, lie about who they are and what they're doing, and all of that. So it's important to keep that in mind, that a screen is a barrier between you and the other person, and you don't really know what's behind it. It's also really important for you to know, once you post or send, say, a text or post something on your social media, put out a video on YouTube even, it becomes public property and open for anyone to use as they want, pretty much forever. So the quote that I really like, again, from your self series, what you decide to share is your choice. What people decide to share about you is their choice. So you have a control and choice into what you're posting and what you're putting out there. However, once it's there, it's public property, and you don't have control or a choice over what happens to it at that point. So it's really important that when you're posting or using online social media sort of things, that you're aware of what you're putting out there, and that you understand that you won't be able to control that information once it's posted, or those pictures once you put them out there. So it's good to keep that in mind and think about if the information and text you're sending or posts you're sending or images or emails, that it's something that you understand. Once you hit send, it's out of your hands. Cyberbullying can look a few different ways. There's texting, as we talked about, such as sending abusive texts or distributing, which means like sharing abusive images, including sexually explicit pictures, which we'll get to in just a second. And then also online using social media, email, or other means, any means like that with technology that is being used to share or harass others is considered cyberbullying. Now, the note about minors in cyberspace go back to where I mentioned about texting and sharing explicit pictures. It's important to know legally, even if you're a minor, so if you're under 18, sharing an image of somebody else under 18, say like a nude or something like that, it is considered distributing child pornography, and it is illegal. So it's important for you to know that there's consequences to that. There is a girl, I think on the East Coast, that was actually arrested for sharing child pornography because she was 16 and she was sharing nude pictures of herself with other minors. So even though they were pictures of her that she was sharing, because she's sharing them with minors, other underage individuals, it's considered child pornography, and she's distributing that by sharing it. And therefore there's legal consequences for that behavior. So it's important to know that if you're, I know sexting is a big thing that came with technology, but there are laws there set in place. So make sure that you understand what the consequences of those choices could be for you. Cycle of bullying is good to understand. Bullying starts with an action. So for example, somebody posts on your social media that they want to beat you up, right? So it's threatening and it's uncomfortable, and they're posting out there that they're after you. The next step is the bullier usually has followers or friends or something that sort of support them in this behavior. They encourage the behavior. Maybe they comment on the post saying, yeah, and encouraging an agreement or find it funny or something like that, which then of course gives power towards the bully and encourages them to continue the behavior. And then you have onlookers who aren't necessarily in support of what they're watching, the behavior, but they're not intervening or saying anything either. And so when bystanders who maybe don't necessarily support this behavior aren't getting involved, then it's the bully and their supporters. And then that's how you can end up in this cycle of being bullied by somebody and feel like, that you're trapped in that cycle. Some signs of bullying, for the adults out there or maybe teens who are seeing some concerning behavior in their friends, is the emotional part, mood changes, depression, a fear of going to school, isolating from their friends, physical, they might not want to leave the house, changes in appearance, a big one's like hiding themselves in baggy clothing, things like that, trying to be less visible because they don't want to have that bully and attack and harassment to happen, shut off, not engaging, and part of this is 48% of youth that have experienced cyberbullying, they didn't know who was bullying them. Again, because in cyber, space. You have the secrecy behind the screen as not really knowing who the person is, or if they're texting you from numbers that you don't know or recognize. So almost half, which is basic, if you're looking at almost half of youth who are being bullied, that same amount doesn't know who's on the other end of this bullying. And so that's where a lot of that, the emotional signs come in, and behavioral signs of becoming uncomfortable with the world around you, because you don't know who somebody's, you know, bullying and attacking you, and you don't even have the benefit of knowing who that person is most of the time. So it's important to keep that in mind too, that a lot of times you can be bullied by people that you don't know, or you may know but you don't really know because you don't know the number, and that can be stressful. So be aware of the interactions that you're having with people online, because you don't know who they are. Some ideas to protect yourself. Don't engage. It seems like an easy one, but it's good reminder that you do not have to text, email, chat back with anybody. You have a choice of who you talk to, chat with, have on your social media, and how you interact with those people. So if you have somebody that's bullying you, sending you awful texts, don't text them back. Block the number. If you have someone on your social media who posts inappropriate things, or they're sending you emails all the time and harassing you that way, block them 100%, and don't engage. Of course, if it's going beyond that and really crossing the line in a disturbing area, there's concerns such as human trafficking is something that we've been talking about in our county for a while, and abusive situations and things like that. Involve the police. If you need to involve the police, or it's gotten to that point, don't hesitate to get the help you need, or report it. Tell parents, caregivers, school officials, somebody, a safe adult. You can also report on the social media. So if you use Instagram, you can report directly to Instagram. Your cell phone, you can call your cell phone company and ask them about blocking numbers and what sort of protocols they have for that. So there's a parent or a caregiver can help you make sure that all of those things are looked at, that calling the phone company and helping you set up your settings on your profiles and things like that to make sure that just these people can't even connect with you, and try to prevent a situation from even occurring. A bystander, so when we're talking about, say, your friends, because when we talked about the cycle of bullying, we talked about how onlookers not doing anything, not getting involved or saying anything, it ends up supporting the bullying behavior, if nobody's speaking to that it's wrong. So some ideas for, if you're a bystander, you see something happening, on your friends' social media, you see posts that are bullying, or somebody's getting lots of texts or something like that. You can interrupt the bully. So take the attention away from the bully. If there's a bully posting on, or really pushing and harassing your friends, and he puts up a post or something, put up another post, a big article to talk about something else. Share something else, to take the attention away from the negative information that the bully's putting out there. You can also point out the behavior. Say you disagree. Say that you're not okay, that you don't want to be lumped in with a crowd, that you want it to be clear that you're not participating in this behavior and you're not okay with it. And then always support the victim, help them delete these posts, help them learn how to block accounts. Maybe you could help set up profiles together, make sure all the privacies are correct, things like that. Be advocates for each other in helping make sure that your friends are safe online, and that are getting support too if a situation is starting to feel uncomfortable. There are benefits of social media, and I want to acknowledge them because it's the world now. So all of us are going to need to accommodate and adapt to a 24/7 information access type situation. And there are a lot of shown benefits for social media. It can be a stress reliever for a lot. It helps us keep contact with far away, family members or individuals we don't get to see. It can be a creative outlet for a lot of people, and a way to express yourself. And those are important. And it's not meant to scare you away from internet or social media use, or, if your parents or adults or caregivers are really concerned about that. It's important to acknowledge there's a lot of benefits to it, and it's not about um, not feeling comfortable using it, but empowering you by providing lots of information so that you can make choices and set, yourself up for proper boundaries and what you feel comfortable with interacting online. Um, and making sure that it's affecting you in those beneficial ways. So here's some reflective questions on the behavior, um, that are good to think about. Think of a time that involved bullying, and it doesn't necessarily have to be online, but think about a time that a bullying situation. What did you do? Were you the one being bullied? And what did you do? Did you see somebody being bullied? What did you do? Were you the bullier? What were you doing that was behavior that can be considered bullying? And what would you have done differently now that you look back on it? Would you have said something? If you were the one bullying, would you have, stopped or decided to talk, with an adult about what's going on with you, and things like that. So this presentation will be available on our Facebook and our YouTube for Lake Family Resource Center. So you could get the slide if you want to do the reflective questions. Here's some resources that are important. The National Teen Dating Abuse Helpline, or their website is www.loveisrespect.org. They have a lot of great information around cyberbullying and safety and warning signs and things like that. So that's a great place to explore for more information. They also have a helpline. So if you are in a situation where you're feeling bullied now, and not only cyberbullying, but if you are in a situation where you're concerned that there's dating violence or something like that, you can always reach out. But also, if you're in a situation online that you're concerned about, they have a helpline, 1-866-331-9474, and you can call that number, and they have lots of help and resources around cyberbullying. The Yourself series also has more information and worksheets and projects and things to spend more time either, with yourself or your family, or maybe with your parents or something, to dive deep into more information about what kinds of boundaries are you comfortable with online, and how to be safe and things like that. And then, of course, like Family Resource Center, we're here with the community crisis line 24/7. And that community crisis line, you can text it now, which is super exciting. So you can either call the number or text the number at 888-485-7733. So that's some information for you. And this presentation will be put up so that you can review it if you would like to. That's what I've got for you today. I'm going to put the worksheet up there. Now, I strongly encourage you to go through the worksheet. If you can do it with a parent or adult, that's good too. But either way, I think you should do it for yourself and take the time to look at and think about, what is my behavior online? What image am I projecting online? Am I comfortable with that? Is there information out there I'm okay with if colleges find it, or if a future job search my name and this comes up? Am I showing myself in a way that I want to, and that I can still stand behind 5 years from now. Because again, once the information's out there, it's out there. Um, and you can't get that back, not in cyberspace. So it's just important for you to set those boundaries and think about those things. And so the worksheet will help you with some guiding questions that can help you consider those. So again, thank you for watching the presentation. You can send us a message on our Facebook at Lake FRC on Facebook. If you have more questions about it, comment on our page, give us a call, email us. We would love to continue having these discussions. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out either in the comments or you can send us a message. Thank you again. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.